buggy full of concrete coming in. I'll show you what I'm looking for here. No more. No more. Good. So I have these clips right here. We don't want those to move at all. So I bring concrete up around them evenly. Perfect. Just shaking it. You can see how it just molds right around it. You want to fill that whole cavity in. Keeping in mind, these are stuck on here with tape, so they will come off. You got to be nice and gentle. You can see how I'm tucking it, shaking it. And a little padding. Now, not a hammer, something softer like your hand or even a 2x4 block you could just tap on that with. You can see I'm getting plenty of movement. See the air bubbles coming out of it? That's what you're looking for. Now you want to get this as full as you can. Later today when we peel these off, we want this to be hard because we don't want to see a hairline crack right here. So concrete needs to be really tight, really hard. That's about it. Okay, there's the first truck all done. You can see the slate texture. Now as this dries, it'll all look real dull. You won't notice it until we do the permateak and sealer. All of our cuts are in. These are basically 5 foot by 5 foot pads, plus or minus a little bit. The styrofoam stayed nice and straight. Finishing up the last little bit of the first truck. Number 2 truck's just a little bit soft yet. This is how we like to protect the corners. One diagonal cut with a wet stab here, and then a foot in and a foot in. That should give us good protection on these corners, and they all match. Okay, I think we're about ready to start rolling over here. I'll get a coat of our liquid release on here so the concrete does not stick to the rollers and we get a real nice impression. Now whenever I said it was too soft to get moving on, that was only like 5 minutes ago. It really doesn't take long to tighten up a little bit where it's good. It's like the ocean. You don't want to turn your back on it. Get a drink of water, get a sip of your coffee, and keep checking it. Stay on. It's still a little bit soft. Get started getting the impression in. Okay, a couple guys take the little wheel, do the edges and joints. Just try not to smush them shut. Sometimes you can help it, sometimes you can't. How long have you been doing concrete, Jim?
35 years.
35 years, right there with me. You're getting quite the fan club out there.
Still right here.
Just doing your thing. Once the edges are all cut in, followed up with the big wheels. How long have you been doing concrete, Steve?
31 years.
31. How old are you?
31.
31.
I think he gave me like the February 23rd off.
Give you a couple days off and then said, let's go.
He said, hey, you're over a day old. It's time to get moving.
Put on a tool belt.
Oh, I'm 38 here. That's great. I was 35
Oh,
before I came
okay.
working with you.
How long were you here? 5 years?
3.
3. Oh man. I was telling everybody, I don't know, 4 or 5 years.
That might be going on.
I think we're a little longer than that. Lose track of time.
Yeah.
Okay, as these guys are finishing up this, I'm going to clear the deck. We're getting this concrete coming right now. Okay, we just finished pouring, still on cleanup. Matt's hitting it with the Fresno. This is going to be ready to roll in about 6 minutes. Steve's edging. We are really flat right through here. We put a little swale right from behind Steve, right out here to right there. Sorry about the transit legs. Right through there. So we're hoping to push that water this way. Once we're over there, everything is good. It's heading out to that lower corner. So we're going to saw cut this in the morning. No tool cuts on this section today. Okay, so one of the last things we're doing here, a set of steps, a curved set of steps from the grill area, pool area to the lower basement. Easiest way I've ever figured out how to lay out steps is we work our 2x8, 7 1/4 rise, and then I check my run, and it's 22 inches. From point to point, and I do that layout down 7 1/4, and I take my mason level with 2 bubbles. So a framing level doesn't work. It has to be a masonry level. And I go point to point, and that's 2% fall. So I'll do a quick layout on this bottom step here, 7 1/4 down. And then I go from that point 22 inches and I draw a line. Now that has 2% fall, so I know I'm good. And it's been working that way the whole way down this board. If you need to adjust, you'll know it right away at the top. So now I just plumb down from my mark Draw a line. Now this is what I'm talking about, measuring down. Hook it right on the board, pull plumb down, 7 1/4. And then from this mark, I go 22 inches ahead. And that should be my intersect point for my next step. And I have just about a half a bubble fall. Quarter bubble fall is ideal. Okay, and then repeat, 7 1/4 down, run, and that'll be my last step. Through the short straw, we had to get in the pool and pull this coping off. We just got a couple little tiny holes, nothing major at all. It actually looks really nice. We're just going along. A little bit of cream came through the bottom, so I take a nail. Well, it's hard, but it's still doable, and you just run it along there, and that falls right off. So I just have 2 more panels to go. I need somebody to hold the camera for me while I get this on here, but while I'm waiting on them, here's how I do that. Just take the nail, just real gently. We could do it with a grinder the next day too, but it's just coming right out. And that's a real nice look, right? Nice and clean looking. Steve, do you need a nail?
I'm using my hammer. It's working pretty good.
Okay.
Here, got that thing to work right here, I think, over here.
Nail's working pretty good. And so on. And then these were my inserts. You can see how important it is to get everything lined up. Doesn't that look nice? Okay, we'll pull this next. And that is all there is to it. Okay, there's the steps just about all formed up. We're going to add 1 step at the bottom. That'll get us level with the patio. And then they can do whatever they want. They're going to do a rock garden down here. Matt's doing the connector up top. I'm going to get concrete coming. Last truck of the day got here. We're going to pour these steps. So you can see how Jim is giving those liners a quick spray. That way none of our concrete will stick to it. I'll set you guys up here. Give you a nice view. All right, I hear the first buggy coming. Concrete's setting up really fast. It's getting these tops cleaned up. This is why we don't 45 our risers. That way you can work it right to that edge. Steve cuts under it with his trowel.
Already did that.
Already did that.
Too slow.
It evens everything up. One, two, 3 more to go. I'm going to start pulling it. The ones off up top. Okay, steps are all done. Steve just went down and scratched these corners to mimic the front. Figure landscaping, you see, you know, just the clip of the corner. And these ones we had our returns in. This is the house side. Tell you, I really don't see too much of a difference. Okay, so that is it. I'm gonna water this down to cool it down. It's pretty warm here. And then probably saw cut this tonight. So we'll get some footage of that. See you real soon.
Good morning, everybody. So me and Stan are back here to do the saw cutting and coloring for this pool that we've been working at. We're basically just going to take our new soft cut saw and run these cuts straight through like so. So we'll have 3 cuts coming that way, and then we're going to break this up into 5'4" sections. So we're going to go ahead and get these laid out and get cutting. Okay, so if you can see it, there's our cut layout. We ended up with about 5.5 foot squares, so it'll match that pool real nice with our tool cuts there. So I'm gonna go ahead and get our new soft cut saw up and running and get cutting. Okay, so all of the saw cuts are in, and that new soft cut saw cuts smooth as butter. All these cuts are nice and straight. That arm doesn't bounce around. That is nice. So now me and Stan are gonna go ahead and wash and scrub all of this concrete to get all the liquid release off so that we can get it sealed, or not sealed, colored with our Permateak coloring. Okay, so we just washed and scrubbed all the concrete to get all of the liquid release off, and now that it's like wet and kind of drying, you can really see these cuts, how it just matches the pool really nice. And again, that new soft cut saw, just, it cuts so straight, everything is just so nice and fresh on it that, man, that's awesome. So I got my sprayer right here mixed up with our Storm Gray Permateak. We're going to go ahead and start dusting this. So you can see how fast this stuff is drying. You know, I started over here and already that side of the pool is pretty much dry. Now with this stuff, I always try to point out, and I always try to let my dad know to point out, that whenever you're using the Permateak, for whatever reason it's not the same as regular liquid release and the coloring. This stuff, you spray it on and it takes like a second or two to actually spread the color out so you can see it. So what I always recommend to people is to do one light coat. You know, don't think, oh, I'm not getting enough color, and then start putting it on heavy, because as the coloring pigment starts to settle, it's going to get really, really dark. So you want to put it on, you know, pretty normal, and then just let it sit for, you know, 30 seconds, 45 seconds, and then you'll really start to see how much coloring is there. So Stan is getting me re-geared with another sprayer of water and the rest of the Storm Gray coloring pigment. I'm gonna go ahead and finish this, hit the steps, hit that sidewalk over there, and then probably dust everything again because it is drying quick and I want to make sure I have enough coloring on here. Okay, so I'm obviously rolling the border or the coping right now. Now the one thing I wanted to point out to everybody is that we didn't do a defined border around this pole. I would say probably 60 or 70% of the poles that we do that, but we didn't do it here. So when you're sealing it, you know, obviously you have to roll the coping here like I'm doing. What I try to do is I'll start up top here and just kind of catch the edge and roll the sealer up onto the top. And then to help avoid getting a defined line with the roller, I push it until it starts to like break up and feather out a little bit. That way whenever I'm using the sprayer, we can just run the shield right here and I can catch this and kind of blend all that in. You don't end up with a hard sealer line. And you have to be very careful not to get sealer in the pool as well. That is why I'm in the pool. Not because it's hot.
That helps.
I mean, it makes it nice, I'm not gonna lie. Stan is finishing up those the coping for me, just touching up spots with the paintbrush where I missed with the roller. So while he's working on that, I'm getting the sprayer going over here. Now you can see the difference between the steps that I just sealed and the patio, which still needs sealed. Now, especially being in direct sunlight, you want to make sure you take your time with this. Put on 2, maybe even 3 super light coats. If you try putting the sealer on in 1 coat, especially on a day like today, it's going to bubble, it's going to look really bad, the sealer is going to flake off. So take your time, do very, very, very light coats. Alright, so there is 2 very, very light coats of sealer on this patio and pool deck area. Everything looks good. There's no bubbles or anything. The sealer is drying up really fast, which is really nice. So probably going to dust it one more time. But this is what I always talk about, is how you really don't see the true effect until it's sealed. When it's wet with water, you kind of get an idea. But for whatever reason, chemical reaction, whatever, that sealer just really pulls that antiquing color out and really just shows you all the contrast between the darker areas and the lighter areas of the concrete. So we're going to go ahead and give this another minute or 2 and throw another 3rd final coat of sealer on the steps as well as the rest of the area. All right, everybody, there it is. There's a little sidewalk we did as well. There's the step we did, as well as the patio area, the pool deck, and you saw those steps earlier. So everything came together really nice. Got it all finished up. Stan's getting us buttoned up with the fence, and everything's locked and loaded. So we're out of here and on to the next one. So I want to thank you guys for tuning in to another episode of Concrete with the Hosses. If you liked what you saw, please click the like and subscribe. We appreciate everybody's support, and we'll see you on the next one. Thanks.